Hello my lovely people of the internet. Today I have a video for you all that is sort of my amalgamation of 2017, because I am well aware that tomorrow, or today for you guys, is the last day of the year, and so around this time of year we get a little bit reflective, we get a little bit spiritual when we start looking at what happened this year and where we're going in the year ahead. I personally think it's really important to have a look at the year that we've just had, so we can have a little bit of time to think what worked, what didn't work, what made us feel happy, what made us feel sad, and what big life events occurred that have allowed us to take away a few things that we can learn from, I suppose. But all in all, it's a very thoughtful time of year, and I thought it was only fitting for me to do the same and reflect about how this year went for me personally. And it's important to look at, you know, the things that worked, the things that didn't work, the big life challenges we faced that allowed us to grow, allowed us to learn, whether they be good or whether they be bad. Things do happen for a reason. That is something I wholeheartedly believe, and we have to be able to look at what happened and think, this happened in order for me to get here, or this happened in order for me to grow or learn or be able to navigate different routes in our life. I am not really one to set New Year's resolutions. I will say personally, I used to joke when I was younger, I used to set New Year's resolutions just so I could break them, because I mean, isn't that what everybody does? I am definitely the type of person to set not even goals, I set intentions, because I have found I should have put that on silent. I found personally for me that my life is a roller coaster. You know, some people's life may be a flat line, it may be a nice little train trip. Not mine, you know, mine's like woo 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 woo. So for me personally, setting very specific goals is quite difficult, because I literally don't know what I'll be doing or where I'll be at in 1 month's time. And I'm going to speak about that a little bit, because it does make goal setting a little bit more difficult, and goal setting is huge and it should be incorporated in everybody's lives. But anyway, enough of me rambling, let's get on to the year that was. 2017 started in a way that I thought would be really hopeful and really sort of memorable, but it ended up being one of the worst things that ever happened to me. Basically, at the start of this year, I had started working for Good Life, which is a big commercial gym in Australia. Very similar, if not the same thing as Fitness First. And I thought I was, you know, I thought I'd made it. It was this big gym in the city. I was like, yeah, you know, like girl knows what she's doing with her life. But it turns out that I just didn't think it through properly. I don't know if you guys are the same, but when someone believes I can do something, I find it very hard to say no. And in general, I'm a people pleaser, and I do find it very hard to say no. And this lady approached me at the gym, and I'd done a lot of training there, a lot of work experience there, and she said, I think you'd be a great asset to our team. Would you think about joining us as a personal trainer? And I was like, oh my god, like she's seen me train, like she knows, like I'm pretty, like I know my stuff. When in reality for her, it was all about the money. I paid a lot of money to start at that job. It was nearly $2,000, and I will never get that money back because I broke a contract because I was so unhappy there. Basically what I had to do is 20 voluntary hours a week. I was not allowed to put paid PT customers into this voluntary time. I was paying quite a lot of money just to work there, and I mean quite a lot of money to work there. And I was so unhappy, and I was so anxious and so stressed all of the time. I was training, I was working, I was doing uni, just all this stuff was going on, and it just was so overwhelming. So the year didn't exactly start on the best note, and it kind of just continued to go downhill from there. In about February time, my stress levels absolutely peaked, and the problem was that I was not doing anything to help myself. I was just like, you know what, that's cool, like I'm just an anxious person, I'm just a stressed out person, get on with the job. And it wasn't until uni went back at the start of March that something felt really off, and I don't know how to describe it, but I just didn't feel like myself. And I have struggled before with depersonalization, and what that is it's when you get so stressed and so anxious that your brain kind of takes a holiday and you don't feel like you're 100% there. I feel like maybe to some degree all of us has had some element of that in our lives. Maybe if we were tired, or like I've heard people say they feel it when they're hungover. It's kind of like that feeling of just being very distant from reality. And I started to feel like this for a few days, and I thought, this is really weird. And of course that sort of sent me into like a panic. And then I didn't want to muck up my schedule as it was. Like I was still trying to go to the gym and I was still trying to train and lead this busy life, but my body was just fighting back and saying, no, Amy, enough. And that sort of made it worse, because then I was starting to think, why can't I work out at the gym? Why am I so tired? Why don't I feel good? And I spiraled out of control. And I still remember the day, it was a Saturday morning, and I went out for a walk, and I was with my partner at the time, and we were on the way home, and I just started to feel really, really faint. And I thought, I can't walk home, I can't continue. And that's very rare for me. Like even if I'm half dead, I'll still be able to walk home. Like that's not a big deal. And my dad had to come and pick me up and take us back to my house. And I just felt so awful that I spent the next 4 days just not being able to move from the couch. And I wasn't, the hardest part was I wasn't ill, you know, I didn't have a sore throat, I didn't have a temperature, I didn't have a cold or flu. I just felt so exhausted and so drained mentally, most of all, and also physically. I thought I must have some sort of an autoimmune disease, some sort of thyroid disorder. Everything went through my head. I just felt so horrible, and everything was making me anxious. Leaving the house was the worst. I couldn't even be in a car. It was really bad. And the thing is now, like, because I'm at a different state in my mindset and a different state in my life, it is hard for me to recall what this time felt like, as it was a very dark period of my life. And so I've tried to block it out as much as I can, because it's not something I want to relive over and over. But it was the most challenging thing I have ever experienced. And I've been through some hard things in my life, some really hard things, but nothing compares to those few months where I had to leave my house. So you would have known if you started watching my vlogs at the start of the year, me and my partner, we lived in our own house. I had to move back in with my parents, we both did, because I needed extra support and I couldn't work, so I couldn't really afford to be renting out the place that we lived in. It was so hard. Like I couldn't even participate in trying to move my furniture to the new house much, because I just couldn't do anything. It was, even looking back at it, really kind of freaks me out, to be honest. I don't want to sound dramatic here, and I'm aware it can come across that way, but this was the lowest of the lows. And throughout this period, for a good 2 months, I thought that I did not want to live anymore. I thought that I wasn't suicidal, let me get that. There is a difference between not wanting to live anymore in the current state that you're in and being suicidal. In my opinion, there is a big difference. I couldn't live like that anymore. Every day felt like torture. I had no fulfillment. I couldn't go to university. Sitting in classes was the most uncomfortable feeling. I don't know how to describe the feeling I had, but it's like being so uncomfortable in your own mind. I wasn't uncomfortable in my body. It was just, I was uncomfortable in myself. It was very strange. Even when I went to Melbourne, it just didn't feel right. And I'm going to insert a few clips here around this time of how I was feeling, a few things that happened, and you can watch for yourself. For those of you that don't know, I currently have an anxiety disorder, and I have had it since I was a child, but it has come in full force over the past few months, and it has taken away my quality of life. It's really scary, and I don't know what the future holds for me at any point. I have a lot of health anxiety, and so the fact that I am tired, the fact that I'm lethargic and run down really makes me feel afraid. I get afraid to leave the house because in my head I don't want something bad to happen, and at any point something bad, like even now my heart's beating really quickly and it's giving me a bit of anxiety, but we're all good. Last Friday it probably got at its worst, and I just couldn't take it anymore. And I just remember waking up that day and I didn't want to get out of bed, and I just sat on the floor for about an hour, and I just thought, take this away. There's still hope in my heart, there's still strength in my heart, and I'm not ready to give up yet. I'm not ready to give up this fight, and I'm not ready to go. And so I want to work tirelessly every day just to be me again, to be Amy again, the crazy girl that you're used to seeing behind the camera. So around this time, I started to try and seek out help because I knew that something needed to change. I got blood tests, I got ECGs, I got everything. I was in a state of perfect health, but clearly something wasn't right, and I still don't know what the hell was wrong with me. And so I started to see, it was such a long process. I had to see a counsellor at university. They referred me to a GP. This GP referred me to a psychiatrist. This psychiatrist referred me to another psychiatrist, and then this psychiatrist referred me to the psychologist that I ended up seeing for about a 6-month period. But that length of time of hopping from people to people and having to retell my story over and over was exhausting, and it was really, really tough. But what was so good about that time is that all of the professionals would turn around to me and say, it's anxiety, you know, it is anxiety. And that was comforting because I needed someone to tell me what it was and what on earth was going wrong with me. And luckily, like, that was the one thing that made me know that it was anxiety driven. Sorry, I'm like leaning my leg here if you're wondering why I'm doing this. I knew it was anxiety driven because after I would leave those appointments, I would have this feeling of clarity and this feeling of that I didn't get from anything else. And so I started seeing this psychologist. I started taking quite a low dosage of medication, which I'm still on. I don't really know if it does anything, to be honest, but I'm still on it because they said you should give it a year. I can speak about my experiences with that too if you want that in another video, just let me know. And I started seeing this psychologist and she was fantastic. I have seen a lot of professionals in my life and they go by the mindfulness and the cognitive behavioral therapy route because that is the most scientifically based way to treat anxiety and depression and other mental illnesses. However, that has just never worked for me. I have a very complex mind, and you'll know that if you've spent any length of time with me. I think a lot, I feel a lot, I have a lot of emotions, I'm very existential, I want to know why things exist and why things happen, and I'm a big analyzer. And so for me, just thinking, okay, why is this thought a bad thought? Like that just doesn't compute with my brain up here. But this psychologist picked up on that straight away, and she started teaching me the lines of acceptance and commitment therapy, which I had looked up before, but I hadn't really delved into it. The concept's so simple, but it just clicked for me and it just worked. And it was the fact of, I was so worried about having a bad day. I was so worried about things going wrong, something bad happening to me. I was worried about fainting, having an accelerated heart rate. Anything you could ever worry about, I was worried about it. And it took a lot of time and a lot of practice, but in the end I got to the point where I can now say, so if I wake up in the morning and I'm feeling a little bit anxious and I think, what if today isn't a good day? What if I just don't feel good today? I am now at the point, and it's so refreshing, where I can go, okay, I have a bad day, so what? And it seems so odd that I would need a psychologist to sort of instill those theories into me, but she helped so much. And now I'm still anxious, not a lot of the time, but some of the time, but it doesn't bother me. Every now and then, if I'm tired or if I'm run down or alone, it will bother me. But to be honest, anxiety can't touch me anymore, and that's the way I plan on living the rest of my life. So things started to go a little bit better after this, and I started to go out a little bit more. I started working as a personal trainer, which was fantastic, and I loved that. It was still a rough period, and I was still very much up and down in the way that I felt, but I could tell that things were slowly and gradually getting a little bit better and a little bit better. And I think that reflects in my videos a little bit as well. And then around September time was like a big I would say at that point it was like I was having one good week and one bad week. So I'd have one good week where I felt really good and one bad week where I just really anxious, really unhappy. And to be honest, a lot of this year I just spent unhappy, unfulfilled, felt like I had no purpose. I wasn't happy in my surroundings. Oh, except one thing I must add, I got my beautiful kitten Moana. She always wants to make an entrance. Oh well, she wants to be in my videos, that's cool. Hey, do you want water? Is that what you want? Crazy cat. In about, I want to say April or May, and she is the light of my life. She helped me get through so much this year by having her to snuggle me at the end of the day and like climb on my neck, and I miss her every single day that I'm here. She was a lifesaver for me, and I know that sounds crazy because she's just a kitten, but I think you guys understand what I mean. Anyway, in September, my life changed forever, and you'll know about this time, and I'll post a little bit of the video from it, but me and my partner separated, which was the second most hardest thing I've ever been through. Nothing that has ever hurt like this, and it just sucks, and it's not something that you can just magically make better. It's not something you can just easily push aside. Missing someone more than life itself, just wanting to spend time with the one person that you know that you can't. I'm sorry, I don't want to get all negative on this, and I already look like crap, but this is just the reality of it. This is every day for me right now, and most of the time I can be happy and I can be positive and I can look at the bright side of everything, but there are times when it just like hits me in the face and I'm just like, I can't cope with this. I don't want to say too much about it because obviously it's not just my story to tell, but I think that he wouldn't really have an issue with the way that I speak about things and the way that I go about things. Basically, we had been together for nearly 3 years, very close to 3 years, and we had an amazing time, and he is an amazing person. I will never say a bad word against him, at least in public anyway. No, I'm kidding. We had an incredible 3 years. I'm gonna get emotional. We had an incredible 3 years. From the moment we were together, we were two peas in a pod. We really were. Oh my god. I did not expect this. We were joined at the hip. Like, you can ask any of our friends. Like, we were literally one person, and we were very, very in love. And we, like, people don't understand why it's so hard for me to now live a separate life. I get a lot of flack for it from a lot of people that don't know my story, but we fell in love very quickly and very hard, and we had a very, very strong bond, and I don't think that will ever go. I think we will always have a special part of each other because we were each other's first love. We were each other's, you know, we grew up together, and that was absolutely heartbreaking. It was something that needed to happen because we were not in a good place for all of the year. You know, my mental health really took a toll on our relationship. Obviously, like, I can't take anything back, but I would take that back. Oh my goodness, where is this coming from? It needed to happen, and I don't regret anything that did happen. It was just scary to have that rock, you know? I would say that it was like an anchor, and all of a sudden it was just me floating in the ocean. And we are still such good friends, and we speak every day. There are no hard feelings between either of us, and we know that it just wasn't our time. You know, we had big things to focus on. My intention was always to move to England once I finished university, and this is my home here. England is my home. He's never even been to England. I can't expect someone to move countries just for me. I would never ever expect that. And I had to accept that, and we were just fighting a lot because we were both unhappy and we were both busy, and we both needed different things from the relationship at the time that we couldn't get, and so that had to happen. And sometimes, like I say in life, guys, everything happens for a reason, and sometimes I think I know the reasons why this happened, sometimes I don't. I am happy and he is happy, and that's all that matters. You know, all that matters is that we are staying above water. Who knows what the future holds? I might find my Prince Charming, my perfect French man, but that really knocked me, but it made me so strong. It made me who I am today, and I'm grateful for that. You know, I would not have done any of this if it weren't for that. And so I don't want to say that it was a good thing that happened, because I was heartbroken for a long time, and there were weeks where I couldn't get through the day. Like, I just couldn't. And luckily I have my parents here. Like, I hope they're watching this, because they helped me so much through this time, and so did my kitten. They were there for me whenever I needed them to be. I could call them, I could message them at any point during the day, and they were there for me, which is what I needed. And so if you are going through similar hardships, please find someone that you can lean on, because it will be the difference between making it through and not making it through. It was good because we had gotten used to being a unit, like I said, and now we get to be our own independent people, which I love. I've gone very much back to who I used to be, essentially, before the relationship, which I'm not saying the relationship changed me in a bad way. It just made me very like, I'm a very caring person. Like I always say to people, I'm a little bit too nice and I'm a little bit too caring. Those are my faults. And it was nice for a little while not to have to use all of my energy caring for someone other than myself. And that may sound selfish, whatever. That allowed me to grow so much as a person. Then after that, about a month later, I think, it all started when I did a Facebook status saying, has anyone ever flown Qatar Airways? Because I was just looking at flights just for a little bit of fun. I knew that university was finishing up and I liked my job, but I needed a different environment. Like when you've been in an environment with someone everywhere, everything reminds you of them. Like literally everything. I could wake up and it was him everywhere. And so I was like, I need to get out of here. And one of my friends that works at a flight center, he started inboxing me and I was like, oh, you know, I'd love to go to England and all this stuff. Within 24 hours, we had flights booked. We had an Airbnb that I was staying. It just all happened so easily and so intuitively, and it was really weird and really strange. And I remember going to my psychologist and being like, am I gonna be okay? Should I have done this? Like, am I gonna be able to survive this? And she was like, yes, you know, you can. I still didn't believe her. And I shared this video, and then I did my exams, which went well. Actually, it went a lot better than I expected, weirdly enough. And literally 2 weeks after that, I was off on the adventure of a lifetime, which you all have been joining me for. And like every day, like you guys don't even know how happy I am to be here. I've been here for 4.5 weeks now, I think. It has changed my life. What I love most is that all of you can see that, because the amount of comments I get in every video saying how happy I look or how comfortable I look, it really surprises me, to be honest, because I feel it and I didn't know that I portray it as well. Clearly I do. There's not one single thing that has made me so happy to be here. Again, it's been one of those occasions where everything has just come into place really, really nicely and really strangely. And I'm happy and I feel like I have a purpose and I feel like I belong somewhere. Every day I walk outside and I just smile, because it was my dream for so long to live in a place where I was comfortable and I felt like I could just be me, and that is here for me. And I'm so happy and I'm so grateful. I'm filling my life now with people that I really, really care about and I really, really love, and I'm excited to see what the future awaits. This year has literally been like a roller coaster. Like I told you guys, my life is a roller coaster. This year has just been, it has been the hardest one yet. And I don't remember if I ever shared this, but I've told a few people now. Back in May, I think it was actually, there was one day where I just sat on the floor and I just cried and cried. And in the end, my mum had to come home from work and take me to the emergency room because I didn't want to live anymore, guys. I didn't want to be here. I couldn't be here. And that was the hardest moment. And I wouldn't say that that was like an epiphany and all of a sudden I'm like, no, I'm going to live this carefree lifestyle. I didn't know what I was going to do. They dosed me up on Valium and sent me home and I slept. Like, it was rock bottom. And that's when the quote that I think about often from J.K. Rowling, rock bottom became the foundation on which I built my life, really rings true to me, because I have seen the lowest of the lows and I'm ready to experience the highest of the highs, and it's given me so much life experience and so much that I can take with me and now deliver to others. I'm excited to see what the future holds, and I'm ready to get rid of the negative energy that I've been holding within me for so long, and I'm ready to just go out and have fun. I'm going to wrap this video up here because it's probably already way too long. I am planning on doing a video which may come out tomorrow because it seems quite fitting on where I intend to take myself next year, but we will see how that goes. I hope you have enjoyed this video and I hope you have enjoyed following me this year. I hope you have learned something from my journey, and I hope that you can just look after yourself during this time and take away some bits from things that I've said. Make yourself your best self, because I think you owe it to yourself, you owe it to your peers. And if you're going through something really tough, just know that this too shall pass. And that is such a cliche, but I remember there was a point where every single hour I would say to myself, this too shall pass, this is temporary. And I forgot to add, I got my tattoos this year, which are also, you know, a big part of my journey. This one, I remember you guys came with me. It says freedom and it's got a butterfly, and that represents everything to me. You know, I got that tattoo before I even thought about going to England, definitely. And now you can see how much a saying like that does mean in my life, because, you know, it's freedom and it's the idea of developing into this butterfly that made me like that. And then I got my second tattoo, like 2 tattoos in less than 6 months on my leg. I wonder if you guys can see this. I hope you can see it. And this is a wave. Let's see if I can make it closer. I'm lucky I'm flexible. There we go. And it's a wave tattoo because, again, apart from saying this too shall pass, I used to say ride the wave all the time, like literally all the time, just ride the wave, ride the wave. I've got it in all my journal entries because it wasn't trying to get through the day for me, it was trying to get through the hour. 1 hour I'd be feeling really good, the next hour I'd feel rock bottom again, and I just kept saying ride the wave, because those highs, they were gonna dip, and those dips, they were gonna get high again. And that's why I got that tattoo. And my dad came as well, and he has the exact same one on his leg, and I love it. And also it's kind of representative of my old life in Australia, because you know Australia's like beaches and stuff, but also my new life in Brighton, because Brighton Beach, just there's a lot of meanings to it. And I love my tattoos, I love them so much. I already want a third one, but I'm gonna slow down for a little bit. Anyway, I'm gonna leave this video here. I hope you've enjoyed it. As always, please leave me a comment down below. I love chatting with you all. Make sure you follow me on my social medias to stay updated. I'm always posting on Instagram story. I should probably stop, to be honest. Have a lovely, lovely New Year's Eve. Don't drink too much. Let me be your voice of reason. Drink enough to have a great time, but not too much to not remember what happened, because that sucks. And I will see you guys in my next video, which will hopefully be coming tomorrow. Let's get this scheduling on point. See you later. Mwah.